Senior advocate Ishkaran Bhandari, another advocate who practiced in the Supreme Court, Abhijit Iyer Mitra, Varis Pathan from the opposition, and Tehseen Poonawala. Let me first begin with you, Aryama Sundaram. You're someone who works in the courts. You're an advocate. You know how these things work. Do you believe that judgments can be influenced by external factors, like perhaps what the judge might consider moving on to if the government is so amenable to accommodate him, and therefore will he tailor his judgments to suit the government's tastes in exchange for a sinecure, let's say a governorship?
I'm afraid your question, Rahul, defeats the very purpose of our whole judiciary, the faith in the judiciary, and the belief in our judicial system. You know, it is very unfortunate how we keep throwing stones any opportunity we get. A party not in power is meaning to throw a stone at the government in power, but in the meantime, the stone sprays all around and hits every other constitutional office. Let me tell you something which I consider is so absurd. Objections taken to taking up appointments in tribunals. If only these people who are complaining, who are meant to be politicians, it scares me that politicians haven't read the enactments, are not aware of legislation. Because the various enactments setting up the tribunals mandates, whether it is NGT you referred to, or whether it's a Human Rights Commission you referred to, or whether it's the Competition Law Tribunal you referred to, whichever one you referred to, the Human Rights Commission, everything. The legislations which created them mandate, direct, that a retired Chief Justice of India or a retired judge of the Supreme Court or a retired High Court judge shall be made the chairman. Nobody else is qualified. Now, obviously, at a time when there is a vacancy in the tribunal, a judge who is recently retired would be the best person to take that job. You cannot leave the tribunal's chairmanship open to allow judges to take a cooling off period. Meantime, there's no chairman of the tribunal. Next thing you'll have is criticism saying tribunals are not functioning. This is the absolute absurdity about the objection about these after jobs being given to judges, because the enactments mandate it. That is number one. Number two, the objection to taking up constitutional offices. Some people seem to forget that judges are not government servants per se. They are constitutional authorities. They are constitutional appointments. We've had Chief Justice Hidayatullah, who became a vice president. We had Chief Justice Subbarao, who stood for elections as president. We had Justice Hegde, who became a speaker. These were all very respected people. And now when you say a judge of a Supreme Court, a retired judge becomes as governor of a state, who better? In the old days, I remembered, you know, eminent people in society used to made judges. You had Sarojini Naidu, Padmanath Naidu, who was made a governor. You had Jayachamaraja Wadeyar, Maharaja of Mysore, who was made the governor of Madras. These were people who were meant to be eminent people. On the one hand, you claim that the governor's office is politicized. On the other, when you have eminent people taking those offices, you criticize that. And who better than a retired judge of a Supreme Court to become a governor? If you mean it's an apolitical, if you mean to say it's an impartial office, the opposition says it should be impartial. If you want it to be impartial, have impartial people there. Have learned people there. Have people who are learned in the Constitution, because a governor's office requires knowledge of the Constitution. I don't see anything wrong in it. And so far as Justice Nazeer is concerned, I find the objection ridiculous. He's been one of the most respected judges of the Supreme Court. Nobody has ever pointed a finger at him. In fact, I think it's wonderful that he is being asked to be a governor today. I see nothing wrong in it whatsoever.
Okay, Mr. Poonawala.